Hello, and welcome to this week's Generation I podcast. Your host, me, Victor Martinez, along with Edwin Mejia and Vlad Uden. We are back, and we're going to start off with question of the week. Thank you, Transparent Labs, again, for this episode.
We have two questions, actually, today.
Yes, we're back here at HQ with two questions. Vic, the questions keeps coming in. Thank you guys for supporting, and more importantly, thanks to Transparent Labs for allowing us to continue to create this great content, all the content with Vic and answering your questions here.
This is a great product, actually, right here. I want to highlight it. It's called Sleep and Recover. Fantastic.
Oh, let me get that for tonight.
No, in reality is that these guys have been proven market leaders with their ingredients. No funny stuff. You can find some of the most incredible ingredients in their grass-fed protein, collagen products, and also their mass gainers, some of the most quality, no funny stuff ingredients on the market. Check them out. So the first question comes to us from Trevi Fitness Japan 8281.
Nice. From Japan, maybe.
Are you from Japan? I hope you are. Arigato.
And the question is, hey, Vic, this is a question about contest stage preparation.
Yes.
Please, could you let me know what a good way to get and hold a pump? I don't know why, but I seem to find it difficult on contest day. Also, when I manage to get a pump, it's difficult to hold on for more than about an hour. Thanks to you all for the great podcast. Best regards, Travis.
Yeah, great question, man. It's kind of like that freaking ex that shows up when you don't want her and leaves when you need her, right? It's the pump is such a freaking difficult part, and guys, even right now in the gym, when they walk out, they always say, man, Vic, I left the gym. I can't keep the pump. It's always the same issue, especially when you're dieted down in pre-contest and you're really pumping up. But really, it comes down to the simple thing. How are you loading up in carbs? Also, are you taking out your sodium too soon, or are you taking up your sodium completely? I've seen it happen. Not just with guys that use gear, but guys that are natural, where I see them and they look flat as hell. And most of the time it has to do with taking out that sodium.
You need sodium for a good pump.
You need it. Unfortunately, most people still don't have that recipe done right. I always say, I always have my clients basically do 1 gram of salt throughout their entire diet. 1 gram of salt. Why 1 gram? Because it's just the safest amount.
Daily?
Yes. No, not daily. Per meal. Usually, most athletes need about 6,000 grams.
It's like a tablespoon? It's a teaspoon?
Well, 1 gram is 1 gram. So I usually find this a little bit easier to kind of give people a scope and how to measure it. You see the delis, they give you those little packets that comes with the spoon, fork, and knife.
Yeah.
And also has a little salt and pepper.
Yeah.
That is about 1 gram of salt, 1 gram of pepper. Use that as your measuring tool, and start off with about half a gram. Eventually, 1 gram, you're going to notice is going to be just about enough. As you get closer to dropping your water, don't drop your salt. Just drop it maybe to half a gram. Keep it at half a gram. And again, if you drop all your salt, a lot of times happens where your body tends to start holding on to that water. So that's one thing you can do. Also, backstage, don't try to pump up. If you see a bench, 135, whatever, don't use the heavy weight. If you see most of us at the Olympia backstage, we're usually using the smallest amount of weights. I will recommend only doing maybe some pull-ups, some push-ups. The bands are good enough. Do isometrics. Those are actually very good. Isometrics. Do 5 push-ups. Hold isometrically for 5 seconds, do another 5, hold isometrically. It's just, there's no real one-way fix. You just have to find a hack where you get the blood flow going into that muscle. And again, when you curl, do not curl as you would in the gym. Curl, squeeze, hold. Curl, squeeze, hold. Do maybe another 5, hold. That's all you can do. There's not much you can do to isolate that, keep that pump, but do it as close as possible as you can. before you head out backstage. If there's an entire category going out before you, don't pump up too soon. You're going to run into that problem where you're actually going to pump up too soon and then lose it. Pump slowly, try not to hyperventilate because your nerves are going on as well. Also, hyperventilating, that nervousness is also going to be a culprit into not having a good pump or staying, full for that contest. So that's the best I can do. That's the best you can do yourself. I've seen people do other stuff. I've seen people do backstage, injecting suspension.
What's that?
It's a fast-acting test.
They inject it backstage?
Backstage, because it's such fast-acting, you could get a pump, but at the same time, is it a fix? No. Did it work for one guy out of 100? Yes, but just keep it as natural as possible.
How about nitric? Do you recommend a nitric oxide booster?
You could do a nitric oxide booster. It could help, again, depending how much in shape are you. If you're holding a ton of water, that water pill is not going to be the magic pill, If you're fat, you're holding water, that's it, But the best thing you could do, isometrics, use the bands, and it's the best thing you can do. And also try to pump up areas where it counts, I've seen people trying to pump out the calves. Don't bother, Keep it on your shoulders, chest, bicep.
That's like me. I don't bother with calves in the gym. And then
No, it's like a lot of things you don't really want to pump up. And a lot of times when let's say you do reach that mega pump that you do get in the gym.
Mega pump.
It's one of those things where you're going to be super pumped, but now the flexing on stage is going to look crazy because now you're going to lose detail. So you're just pumping off where you feel the muscle. So that's why when you're backstage and your coach, I usually like to ask my clients, do you feel your muscle? Usually that's the indication that, yes, you are getting a pump, you are getting a connection. If you don't feel that curl, it's, again, just keep the isometric going, squeezing, and do it closer to when you go out, A little wine might help your vascularity.
Wine?
A little bit of candy might help your vascularity. Oh. But most of it, the pump is usually the biggest issue. So try to do high reps. This is not a 2, 5, 12 reps. This is a high rep thing. So 20 to 30 reps will definitely get you going.
All right, good. And we have the second question, Ed, right?
Yes, we have another question. And then the second question, again, thank Vic, great detail there. Comes to us from Kelvin, author 8005. And that question is, hey, Vic, what's your thoughts about having a bad workout session a day and decide to repeat the same body part the next day or after the third day, which is better for muscle growth?
It's a good question, actually.
Man, once you're having that bad workout, it's like that bad lay. Just leave, man.
No, this is a good question because, sometimes
just leave.
Let's say today I went to the gym this morning and I did chest and then I couldn't, my last rep, I usually do the final. I didn't finish the last 6 reps.
No, I understand.
And I go back to finish it. So
I've been there, and it's just one of those things where you just kind of have to just walk away, man. Walk away, and you just look back at it and be like, you know what? Do the Arnold and say, I'll be back.
Is that because you feel that you just need a recovery, you need a rest day, or is it because you just need to kind of gain momentum and come back?
Everything you said is right. It's
no,
correct.
But he's asking, let's say he has a bad workout one day, should he come back the next day?
No. I know, but I'm trying to get to it, bro. You guys are hitting the nail on the head on both sides, It's just, again, going back to that bad lay, man. It's like, listen, bro, that's it, bro. It's over.
Come back tomorrow.
Leave. Maybe not come back the next day. That's your body basically saying, you're not recovered. I'm not going to respond. You didn't eat enough. You didn't rest enough. Walk away. It's not that bad, I think it takes more guts saying, you know what, it's not going to be a good workout, but walk away from it.
It's relative to sports in many ways. Like in baseball, where I played baseball, and you go 0 for 4, you have a bad day, you just come back tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like somebody says, hey, I love when people say, hey, today's my heavy day. but not really. You know, that heavy day could be one of your worst days that you didn't recover.
Right.
And
Because
it's not gonna
sometimes you
happen.
wake up and you feel like, out of nowhere, you have this like strength and no momentum.
Yeah, some days I remember some days I only have half an hour. I'm rushing. I gotta get to the gym. I wind up having the best freaking workout. You know, it's weird. Now today I have all the time in the world. I'm gonna work out. I cannot get that pump. You know, it's just your body. Listen to your body.
So do you come back the next day like he's asking and then do the same body part again?
If you did a few exercises, let's say you only did one exercise, you can't come back the next day. Why not? You know, if you did a complete workout, it was a horrible workout, let's skip a day.
Yeah.
You know, let's skip a couple of days. You know, give your body a chance. You know, psych the body out. You know, a lot of times it could be that certain body part. It could be just your body as a whole is taking no for an answer. You know, regroup, consider that your day off, and come back. You know, like I said, if you did a complete workout and workout, skip a day, skip a couple of days, but definitely, you know, come back. Let's do another battle, another day. You know, regroup. Feed yourself, you know, maybe again, a lot of the factors usually are when I have a bad leg workout is because the day before I didn't eat too good, you know. So to your benefit, you know, don't let that be like it's over. That's it. Your bodybuilding career, your bodybuilding hobby. It's not over. It's just your body speaking to you.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting insight by you, Vic. I mean, I think a lot of professional bodybuilders out there might want to say, hey, you know what? I'll come back tonight. I'll try again. Because we've seen that with a lot of bodybuilders.
Don't do that tonight. Don't do that tonight. If it didn't work earlier today, it's not going to work later that night. You know? Don't try to force it, man. Don't go knocking on that girl's door. She's not going to let you in. It was bad already. No, I don't want to repeat the same bad shit. No. Regroup. You know, come back.
I thought they were both great questions, like, and great answers, of course.
Yeah. It's just sometimes it's just not gonna happen, man. And I found myself kind of, you know, curling or benching. I'm not getting that pump, and here I am trying to pick a different machine. Maybe it's the machine. Maybe no, it's you. It's just you. So you have to just kind of, you know, change it. And a lot of times that this happened, I realize, is when people do the same exact routine, set for set, exercise for exercise. So if this happens, try this. You know, if you think you're gonna have that bad workout, you know what? Let's turn the entire routine around. If you start with flat bench, start with incline. If you start with flat bench or incline, start with flies, you know. Start with something you didn't expect will make your workout better.
So it's not a routine, like you kind of switch it.
Yeah, switch it around, because a lot of times that happens is because you're doing the same exact workout, the same exact routine, the same rotation. Change it around, change the rotation. Do something you hate doing first, and that will probably turn it around.
You ever been on the way to the gym thinking you're going to train one body part, and then you get there, something changes and you do something completely different? Like a different body part?
Yes, usually I've gone in, I'm going to do this one body part. Here comes a client and said, man, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing chest. Oh, I want to do back. Oh, man, I'm doing chest. I'll pay you $500 to do back. Let's do back. Let's do it. Come on.
Why not?
Let's go right now.
All right, guys, please submit your questions in the comments below. Thanks to Transparent Labs. Vic is going to answer those questions.
Thank you, guys.
And, of course, you can also email us at info@generationnerd.com. And then hopefully Vic will select it.
Yes. Good luck with the goodies, guys. Come on. Take advantage of them.
You need to take your muscles to the max! Whoa there, Turbo. Do you even know what's in that stuff? Oh, yeah. See, most protein powders are filled with artificial sweeteners, food dyes, and filler.
Really? I wouldn't put that stuff in my body.
Neither would I. Transparent Labs is made with just a handful of all-natural ingredients without any of the weird stuff. Transparent Labs. Protein without the weird stuff.
All right, so Joe Rogan, this is not new news per se, but he made some comments about bodybuilding a few weeks ago, and I want to get your take on it because Joe Rogan, I don't know if he likes bodybuilding or not, but he talks about it once in a while, and he had some bodybuilders on his podcast, but He was talking about different sports, right? And he said that certain sports, if you call bodybuilding a sport, it's impossible without steroids. You cannot get Ronnie Coleman's size. You don't get to Dorian Yates' size without steroids. So that comment spread across the bodybuilding thing because obviously, you can bodybuild without use steroids, of course, right? We don't promote steroids on the show, by the way. But he's saying you got to get to that size. I mean, what did you think about those comments and why do you think he said it?
I mean, he said it because he's correct. He said it because he wished he was that big and it was impossible for him to do it because he didn't dare do what Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman have done. It's just goes back to the same thing. Why are fewer guys doing open bodybuilding? Because it's not for the faint of hearts. It's not for the non-ballsy. It's not for the weak man. It's not for the guys who don't have heart, who don't have guts. Blood and guts, that is. But yes, it's very few people can do it. A lot of people are afraid of it. So since they're afraid of it, they can't do it. What happens? It goes to criticism. They only got that way because of steroids.
Oh, yeah.
Does it make you feel better? Go ahead, enjoy it, write it out. At the end of the day, that's why being a bodybuilder is for the few and the far in between.
Yeah, but if you're talking about Ronnie Coleman, that's the pinnacle of the sport, right? That's a pinnacle. That's
Yeah,
the
but you
top,
got to
top,
remember.
top.
Yeah, you got to remember. He said you can't be like Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman got huge before he even touched steroids.
Well, he said certain sports you can't. If you call bodybuilding a sport, it's impossible without steroids. In general, he's saying.
In general, bodybuilding. He said bodybuilding like Ronnie Coleman. Can you be a pro without steroids? That is also false.
I'm saying if you look at any sport,
Is it
including MMA,
false?
for example,
Yeah.
if you're the highest MMA athlete, highest like the top of the top,
Right.
you can make an argument that they're on steroids too.
Yes, they
Can you
are
not
on
say that?
steroids too, but he's not going to touch it because Dana White's paying him a lot of money. He doesn't want the bad press. They're doing a lot of. They're doing it. I mean, I like the sport. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go crossover because Joe Rogan's making fun of bodybuilding because this is the only way they can do it.
That's what I'm getting at. Was he throwing shade at bodybuilding?
It's throwing shades, but I can name right now a few guys that actually made it in bodybuilding natural throughout their career. And again, people are going to argue this, but just the other day, my friend Hurricane just became a pro, and he looks great. He's
Fully
natural,
pro.
fully natural. So again, I'm not going to go over and attack the sport that he loves the most, MMA, and be like, oh, this guy's. I'm not going to do that. I love MMA. Whatever they do, they do. Whatever they're going to continue doing, they're doing. Boxing, they're juicing too,
That's my point. If everybody's juicing, then-
but I'm not here to be calling out just because, it's like, oh, you're attacking my favorite sport, bodybuilding, which you said might not be a sport, whatever. Each his own, At the end of the day, every sport has their freaking, closet, skeletons in there, and everybody does their own whatever it is, I think I just ordered some Epos to some MMA guy not too long ago,
So what?
Epogen,
You ordered it for the MMA guy?
Well, not me.
Somebody you know. Okay.
Somebody I know somebody I know that did. And again, there's always some sort of doping. People want to win. People want an edge. People want to do something to get that number one placing and that paycheck, man. If you're not winning or being a social media guy that has 1 million followers, you're just not going to deliver. And right now, people need to deliver. So whatever way they do it, you know what? Whatever. I just want to see you on that screen beating your asses up and give us a good freaking entertainment. That's all there is.
Vic, what do you think about Tren twins? They actually call themselves Tren twins.
Tren twins are still around, these guys, bro?
Oh yeah, they're huge.
Massive.
Huge.
Massive following.
They're still doing the
Bro,
Tren
they're like
thing?
the new like, what do you call it? Like the Samsung level, I would say, right? Would you?
Yeah, they got a huge following. Those guys were.
No, I know they got the following. I just didn't know they were still doing the whole trend thing.
But they call themselves the Tren twins, actually. But Tren is obviously the steroid, clearly, right? So,
Yeah. Let's see. I hope they're, have happy girlfriends or, because that trend is going to kill, the main guy, he's Man, good luck to you guys, man.
He's gonna kill the leading protagonist.
They have the followings, they have their fan base. You know what? Good luck, guys. But anything goes wrong, love to have you here. Like to hear your story. And, let's not, glorify Tren. Let's not do that.
Well, what's interesting is that they go to many bodybuilding events, and I'm seeing people in the industry, taking photos with them. Embracing them, which is cool, obviously. But
judges and like
trust me, I understand.
Promoters.
Yeah, I
mean, that means they know they call them Tren twins. I mean,
all thanks to their following. They have the followers. Put their following at 100, and let's see if they get the same treatment.
Right.
I don't know. But
probably not.
No, people love that. People love, guys that have the gift of gab, who just, like to yap on social media and say all this and say all that, How old are they, first of all?
I think in 20s, right? In the 20s.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're young. But, like Rich Piana, for example, was not embraced by the quote-unquote industry, like the, you know what I mean? Like the
because Piana was here before his time.
So now people are kind of more relaxed now, right?
I think obviously PEDs back in the day.
Rich Piana opened the floodgates to all this.
Yeah, when we were doing
back then they cared.
No, when we were doing Generation Iron, people really kind of like did not, the league, bodybuilding, and the federation did not really want us touching or talking about it. And we highlighted it in the film, and then obviously social media kind of boomed after that, and people didn't really pay a lot of mind to Rich Piana. They're trying to kind of keep him as an outcast because he spoke too much about it. And now people talk about it every day.
No, I mean,
a lot changed.
Rich Piana made it, social media. His brand took off, rest in peace. Fortunately, he left us way too young. But Rich Piana was a maniac in a good way, People like the hype. People like crazy. People like this freaking energy of, like, yeah, I want to be up there. And it's fine until it's not.
My favorite bodybuilding beef was Rich Gaspari and Rich Piana sparring, like throwing jabs at each other.
Or I missed that one.
Rich Gaspari really didn't like him for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
So funny.
I like Piana. Every time I saw him, I remember he always like, come over here, sit on my sofa. And it was just, I had no ill will to him. He knew he used the platform, used social media to the best advantage. I mean, he blew out 80% of the supplement companies just on his personality. So I had nothing negative to say about him. I mean, it was his life, his choices. Definitely. And he created a whole new different cult of following. And if the Tren twins are following that template,
100%.
Listen, man, you're young. I'm not going to say you guys are doing anything wrong. You're doing it different. And write it out, man. Write it out. I will never sit here and just, diss some young kid because he's doing something, basically, that's going to offend certain people. People get offended for nothing.
Hormone replacement therapy, HRT, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, they all kind of go into the same bucket of hormones. Men and females, they all have the same exact hormones. For males, they need more testosterone than females. And for females, we need a little bit more estrogen than males.
Basically what that means is if you get your blood work done, your testosterone's low, we try to get it to an optimal level.
We'd walk into where our medical assistants would be. They're contacting patients all throughout the day, making sure patients are feeling good, looking good, and performing their best, making sure they're hitting their goals, making sure they're tolerating the medication properly, and everything is going well. Patient care and patient service is number one to us. And if they have any questions, concerns, issues, then we're taking care of them too as well.
A TRT company or Titan Medical, what they do is they make people healthy and they get people to really live the dream of life. It's one of those things I always say, do you want to live a long life or a quality of life? And that's what Titan Medical does.
So let me ask you a question, Vic. I mean, obviously there's always a debate about Ronnie and his size and how much he brought to bodybuilding right over the years. And I'll make the comparison, like, people always heard, and I grew up in an era of Michael Jordan, of course, but like I've always heard people say they will never be another Michael Jordan. They will never be another Michael Jordan. And now I'm not saying that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan, but he put up numbers that are pretty incredible.
He beat his stats, right?
Compared to Michael Jordan, right? He actually beat many of his stats, obviously. So you could make the argument that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan. I'm not saying that, but you could make that argument that he was better than Michael Jordan. Now,
He probably is.
you know, will there ever be a better, bigger, more successful bodybuilder than Ronnie Coleman, in your opinion?
I don't see anybody having the guts to even try it. I mean, right now we have somebody who's Mr. Olympia right now, Samson Dura. His approach is different. His love for the sport reminds me, close to Ronnie. The way he said and competed in many shows. When people say don't compete before the Olympia, he did it. So right now he's on 2. I'm not gonna discredit him or anything, but can they be close to it? Can't say no, man. Can't say no, but
Greg Doucette went on, I think it was Jay Cutler podcast, and he said something about gene therapy, genetic therapy, right? And he was saying that with genetic therapy, I guess, eventually it's going to be a better physique than Ronnie Coleman. I don't know what he meant exactly by gene therapy. You're talking about like...
I know, gene therapy doping, I think is
just doping,
the company. Well, the company that's doing it is, if I can remember off the top of my head, I think it's called CRISPR on the stock exchange, CR.
That's before the baby is born. That's like prior to
Well,
birth,
they're the
right?
ones leading research on gene therapy, where basically they take out anything negative that's in your gene pool of cancer, any sort of cancer, any sort of heart issues, and could they just basically take it out.
We spoke about that before. So they can basically give you genetics of a superior human being, muscularity-wise?
Well, it's all lab made. So they do it. I don't know exactly. I'm not the scientist, but I do like reading on it because I think it's interesting. I think a lot of it, they're saying it's going to be, one of them is going to be nanobots. A lot of it is going to be basically putting in a cell that's going to basically eradicate any negative cells in your system. It's going on right now. It's going to be the future of health and fitness, probably. But again, gene therapy is not going to create your mindset. So to say it's going to be another Ronnie Coleman or better than Ronnie Coleman because of gene doping, gene therapy, I don't think so, man.
That's a good point.
You
That's a
don't
good
build
point.
a mind like that. You don't build a Bruce Lee, a Ronnie Coleman, a freaking, an Einstein, with a brain like that. It's just not going to happen because the mindset alone and having the heart to do it are two different things.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think that takes up a whole different beast, a different person.
Yeah.
And
So-
that's a good argument. I mean, look, I do think that there will be. Look, I am personally seeing Phil Heath on stage. I mean, I think Phil Heath was pretty incredible in terms of his genetics.
Oh, yeah, he got 7, man. He was close.
He had tighter, smaller joints than Ronnie did, but his appearance, I mean, he was perfect for bodybuilding. His physique was perfect for bodybuilding. So, and many others too, and you too, Vic, right? So it's like there's other guys out there. I mean, you're right, but it's all about the mindset at the end of the day.
Yeah, the mindset is everything, man. I know guys right now have freaking the entire freaking drugs that most of these pros wish they had, but they don't have the freaking balls, man. They're just not going to do it.
Do you think if Phil Heath would have got his 8th Olympia, right, he would have tied with Ronnie and Lee Haney, do you think you would consider Phil to be on the same level as Ronnie?
Ronnie's level is just a different level. Ronnie's level is the unbelievable level because of what he did. I mean, the weights he moved. Did he have to move all that weight? Not at all. He chose to just to show that not only am I a bodybuilder, but I'm strong as hell, and I'm doing stuff that you guys are only going to dream about doing. So Phil Heath would have just been a different, 8-time Mr. Olympia, just like Lee Haney was. Lee Haney retired when most people are now beginning.
Yeah.
Look at that. That alone can't be done at his age.
So do you think there will ever be a 9-time or another 8-time Olympia winner, or 8 or 9-time?
Boy, you guys are asking for it, and the big answer to that is no. Because again, the mental capacity and strength you gotta have and possess to live in this world of social media and be in the world social media and be in that bubble of being the best bodybuilder. It's just not gonna happen, man, because
Well, that's what they said about Michael Jordan, though. That's right, my point. I mean, it's different sports. I know people don't come after me.
no, Michael Jordan was in the era of the perfect time to be the best in the world. And I mean, Michael Jordan was just great.
I think people would hate it. Like remember when Phil was winning every year? Like fans were getting so frustrated. They were like, "Come on, somebody come and defeat him already." Like people, I think the fans would hate it personally.
I mean, fans
They like the uncertainty. Who's?
I
Gonna
mean,
win.
it is kind of boring, I would say, to always have this one winner again and this one winner again. People love to see a challenge. People love to see a challenge. Imagine Canelo getting mediocre boxers all the time. It's going to be boring. You know, you got to have that challenge. And if you don't have that challenge and you're making it too easy, or the guys that are aside from, you know, second and above are not pushing that hard, it makes it boring. And that's why I like what's been going on with bodybuilding now, where you have, you know, Hadi on one side, you have, you know, Derek, and now you have Sansom, and now you're going to have a crazy lineup of the most Olympias, actually.
It's going to be exciting, yeah.
It's probably in history, right? The most Olympias on that stage.
I think so, yeah.
That is interesting, you know, and that's what makes bodybuilding
What
fun.
would be the most interesting competition or, you know, bodybuilders for you to see on stage? Let's say if you had your pick of 2 or 3 bodybuilders competing against each other, doesn't matter what era, what would it be and who would it be?
Oh, man, Olympians on that stage right now. I will have to definitely put Phil Heath up there. I would have to put Sean Roding up there. I would have to put, you know, Lee Haney up there. You know, Ronnie. Man, can't leave Ronnie out. Man, who else? Think about it. Only because in the last, you know, 30 years, the stretch has been not so many, you know. But definitely Dexter Jackson up there as well. You know, with the Lion of Lebanon, can't leave him out, you know. And you got to throw Arnold, you know, even though he'll be, you know,
it's a legendary
pushed to
lineup.
the side because of his leg build-up and stuff. It's going to be like, he's going to look small, but it's still going to be interesting. So that would be great. And Brandon Curry, can't leave him out, with Big Ramy. That will be a crazy Olympia lineup. And right away on Symmetry, half of those guys will be out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us on this week's Generation Iron podcast. Remember, follow us, like, and comment. You want to see any of our prior episodes, remember to go to wherever you stream your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and please, thank you for following us and being loyal. Appreciate you.
Much appreciated.